Hey, it's Mike, and I'm back. I'm ready to do some Hare Krishna updates and have some fun. We're going to watch some videos, talk about all kinds of stuff. Let's see, we got fake human. Hey, yeah, retards are us. Absolutely. And we got Queen of Karma. Hey, great to see you in here. Three Stooges. Yeah, those three guys. Those three guys, those three Stooges. Yeah, let's get right to the opening because I want to get right to these videos. I got some great videos for us all to watch. So here we go.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, okay. Thanks for sticking that out. All right. So let's see. We got Rafael. Hey, man. I got your videos. I got a lot of videos. We got a lot of videos to watch today. And yes, running after that kiwi. Absolutely. So I got a lot of things I want to get to. So I'm going to get right to the first one is about cults. And I just want you to know that I get together here and we talk about Krishna stuff, and I kind of dissect and deconstruct the Krishna teachings and books and all this stuff. And hey, Glenn, good to see you, man. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you here. Hey, and 7720, glad to see glad to see you're here too. So I like to talk. We talk about Krishna stuff and all this stuff, but a lot of what I like to do is explain cult stuff to people who are watching, who maybe just got into Hare Krishna. They don't know if it's a cult. They don't know what's going on, and somehow they found my video. So I like to present a lot of cult information from other cult experts, people that know about cults, so that anybody watching will be able to hear and see information about cults and not just what I'm talking about for the Krishna. So the first video I have here is a pretty good. It's a cute little video that I saw, but it explains everything really well. How these cults work. So I want to start off with this one. Let me see how I can get this going here. It's basically modern cult tactics. So let's see. Here we go. Oh, maybe I want to make sure everything's right. So here we go.
Start with one goose. Goose want meaning. Goose want friends. Goose want answers. Enter, fancy goose in scarf. Scarf goose say, only I have truth. Scarf goose, very wise. Also sells candles. Goose join group. Group say, you're special now. Goose feel warm inside. Goose feels seen. Goose buy 10 candles. Now tactics begin. Number 1, love bombing. Group say, you're amazing. You're brilliant. Your feathers, immaculate. Goose feel love a tsunami. Goose feel chosen. Goose buy 10 more candles. Then Goose say, I'm not sure I agree. Group freeze. Smiles vanish. Group say, oh, you're one of them. Goose now outsider. Love turns to silence. Goose exiled. Unless Goose say, just kidding, and buys more candles. Number 2, us versus them. Group say, we enlightened. Others, dirty pond people. Goose believe. Goose cut off friends. Goose stop listening. Goose starts saying, bread is trauma. Everyone outside the group, just unhealed. just toxic. Only group gets it. Everyone else equals enemy. Number 3, thought stopping. Goose say, wait, is this weird? Group say, that's your fear talking. Goose say, but. Group say, boundaries. Goose silenced. Now Goose say nothing. Just repeats mantras. Healing is a journey. Trust the Goose says. Brain go quiet. Doubt equals disloyalty. Questions equal betrayal. Number 4, Guru worship. Scarf Goose now sacred. Everything Scarf Goose say equals truth. Even when wrong. Even when weird. Even when Scarf Goose steal nest eggs. Goose defend. Goose justify. Goose say, you just don't understand the path. Final Goose wisdom. Not all cults wear robes. Some wear yoga pants. Some run startups. Some post TikToks about cutting off low-vibe birds. If group says, only we get it, run. If they love you too fast, run. If they sell truth in 5 easy payments, fly. Because Goose is smart. Goose is strong. Goose don't need guru. Goose already whole.
So, yeah, there's a lot of, I'm in the dark. A lot of Krishna in that. A lot of Krishna in that. Oh my goodness. Goose sells candles. Oh, my evil twin. My evil twin. Goose sells candles. Goose sells books. Goose sells books, and Goose buys books. And that is Krishna to a T right there. I mean, that is it. The final one, everything he says is a fact. No matter how weird, child marriage, pedophilia, it doesn't matter. And they slowly get you hooked in there. Clown, yeah, clown with the goose. So Scarf Goose, and everything they said is exactly how your Hare Krishna journey is, as through the eyes of a goose. Through the eyes of a goose, that's your Krishna journey right there in a nutshell. And so the other thing, important thing that I wanted to show as far as cults and their, let me see, how do I get this? I don't know how to get this right. Okay, I guess it's gonna be that. But this is, of course, this is Knitting Cult Lady, and one of the things that I like to say is that people, they don't understand how people join cults, and they think it has to do with people that are dumb or less educated, right? They're not as smart, or they're not as in tune, or they're not intuitive. They didn't see clearly what was going on. Maybe they're searching for something. All these misconceptions about why a person joins a cult, and none of the. I mean, all of those things can factor in, but it's not a specific type of person. That's why there's all kinds of people in cults. Even people that go to Harvard, people that have millions of dollars, George Harrison or Tom Cruise, and just all kinds of people that get involved with cults, because it has nothing to do with intelligence or education or any of those things, really. But anyway, let's hear Knitting Cult Lady, because she's the expert at this, and she has a great video on why people join cults, and I'm going to watch a little bit of it because she explains a lot. And let me see here. I can get this going.
Today for Devotions with Daniela, we are reading from the second book of Daniela, The Culting of America, which comes out January 20th. And we are going to read, let's see where the spirit guides us. Medusa, what do you have for us today? Why do people join cults and extreme groups? Before jumping into the sacred assumption, it is essential to understand why people join cults in the first place and why they stick around, even when things get abusive or when the red flags are painfully obvious. From the outside, it's easy to think that would never be me. Only naive or gullible people fall for that kind of stuff. But the reality is, no one is totally immune. I mean, one of the Branch Davidians who died during the FBA standoff in Waco was a Harvard-educated lawyer. For a long time, researchers thought it was just stupidity or poverty that drew people into these extreme groups. Turns out, it's way more complex than that. When you dig deeper into why people join these groups, you start to see how cults and terrorism studies overlap in some pretty interesting ways. As an intelligence officer working in counterterrorism during the so-called War on Terror, I saw firsthand how terrorist organizations offer recruits a complete transformation, an entirely new worldview, and a deep sense of purpose.
Oh, here we go. We have to have our
في خلال
commercial. There we go.
Once people buy in, they become fiercely loyal and almost cult-like in how they dedicate themselves to the group. You see the same patterns in gangs, too. It's all about finding identity and belonging, and perhaps a feeling of protection in something larger than yourself. And it's even more appealing when the world doesn't seem to offer another place where you fit. The emotional pull of belonging to a group can feel a lot like being in love with your fellow team members, and that pull can be what brings people in to begin with. Clark Macaulay and Sofia Moskalenko, in their article from the research journal Terrorism and Political Violence, explain that love often determines who will join a terrorist group. The pull of romantic and comradely love can be as strong as politics in moving individuals into an underground group. Expert in persuasion psychology, Dr. Robert Cialdini backs this up with his liking rule. Simply put, people are more likely to say yes to people they like. Radicalization doesn't happen in a single dramatic moment. It happens over time, one small rationalization at a time. People don't realize they're in a cult till they're deeply entrenched. And most violent extremists don't set out to be.
So, that's an important point that people don't realize, that the cults, you can move quickly through those steps of joining a cult. Like the lady is 2 months in, she's confused and frustrated. She thinks 2 months she moved through the steps of joining the cult very quickly. But it's actually little by little. It's your first, you get the book, or you meet the devotee and he gives you the book or sells you the book, whatever. You get the book, start reading the book. You go down to the temple or you meet the devotees and you ask them questions, and then they're telling you how harmless it is, how easy it is. So you start rationalizing little by little. It's like, oh, well, these are nice people, so that's okay. And the little flowers and the statues. Well, that's just like, Catholic church or this church that I used to go, they have statues or whatever, and it's a little bit rationalizing a little bit, and then within a month or two, you don't even realize this lady doesn't even realize how deep she is, to where she's already seeking help for her relationship and the feelings and how she's feeling, and the pull of the cult trying to get her in, and her boyfriend and all of these things, and it's just 2 months. Just 2 months in. She's like, and it's like recruiting into a terrorist group. She's been radicalized into this cult. Her boyfriend wasn't, but she is. Let's see, what does it say? I had severe OCD. I fear may I not be punished. The more I fear, the more it attacks. OCD is if you OCD is not something that you want to have in the Hare Krishna. I mean, Wolf Warrior, I'm glad you're here. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not. I not at this time. I mean, I wish you well in your in whatever you have going on, Wolf Warrior.
Become terrorists. No one joins a dangerous cult or terrorist cell. They join something that feels like a solution, a salvation. The slow shift into extremism mirrors how the sacred assumption forms. Tiny, almost invisible steps, each one just close enough to normal that you don't notice you've crossed a line. Financial motivations might play a role for some people joining terrorist groups or gangs, but it's not just about money or lack of resources. Early on, scholars used the idea of relative deprivation, the gap between what people think they deserve and what they actually experience, to explain why some turn to extremism. But then came the student movements of the 60s and 70s, and that theory started to crack. You could see the same kind of thing happening with cults in the 70s, and more recently with everything from justice movements like the Arab Spring and Antifa to the rise of homegrown American white supremacists like many of those who stormed the US Capitol on January 6th, 2021. The people who joined these groups came from all kinds of backgrounds, so it's clear that deprivation isn't the only factor at play here. Something deeper is going on.
More commercials. I do not.
As research on
Support
cults
that
progressed,
message.
scholars realized that the idea of relative deprivation just didn't hold up. What researchers did discover is two things that most people in extreme groups have in common. The first, and probably the easiest to explain, is the lack of strong social connections. Sociologist Lorne L. Dawson, in his article, The Study of New Religious Movements and the Radicalization of Homegrown Terrorists, Opening a Dialogue, explains that people with fewer social ties tend to have lower stakes in conforming to societal norms. This makes them more open to joining groups that are in tension or conflict with society. This ties directly to Cialdini's social proof theory, which he discusses in his book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. One means we use to determine what is correct is to find out what other people think is correct, he writes. So if someone doesn't have those normal social connections to offer counterbalance, they're more likely to get drawn into extreme beliefs. Cialdini also tells us that the problem comes when we begin responding to social proof in such a mindless and reflexive fashion that we can be fooled by partial or fake evidence, which is right where cults want you.
So that's what I've been saying for a while, is that we're making people that are joining these cults. There's a lot of reasons why people join cults, and there's a lot of everybody's different. But if you're making decisions based on incorrect information or outright lies or disinformation, how can you're not completely responsible for that. You've been deceived. You've been fooled. You've been scammed. You've been scammed into believing but that's a lot of things. We're being scammed by a lot of things, but a lot of things are not. You're getting scammed by a lot of things every day, but they're not making you turn over your life. Turn over your life, your beliefs, turning you into a racist, sexist, pedophile, someone who supports child marriage. Someone who supports child marriage, who can't bring themselves to say that that's wrong. They just can't bring themselves to say it's wrong. How do I? They'll defend it. They'll defend child marriage and domestic violence. They'll defend a lot of this stuff. They'll defend all of this stuff. And just to show you, let me see where this is. Okay, so this, what is this? Sir, I am from India. Wow, that's, I respect that you're from India. That's great. In my place, many people understand, some don't feel as bad. I just want it to be understood. I'm just a normal human being. Yeah, that's what we all want. We all want to be understood. I feel like uh, you need some therapy. You're looking for some therapy. This is not therapy. This is deprogramming. Um, but I hope you're understood. I want you to be understood. I want you to be understood, and I want you to be treated like a normal human being. So, what can I say? But what I want to say about this is this. For instance, this Henry Dortorsky, who's written 3 books, and I don't know the man, and I don't have anything really bad to say about him because I don't know him. But he's written 3 books about killing for Krishna, the deranged devotion, 11 naked emperors. He's done a great job, documenting what he knows from his time at New Vrindavan and in the Hare Krishnas. He's done a great job putting all this stuff in these books. He knows so much about what happened with the killing of Salochan, the murder, the everything. He's researched. He's written books about it. He knows so much about all of this. In fact, he has a web page where he talks about so many things about the gurus and the crimes, so much gold, guns, God, so many things he's written about in this movement. He says here. He says, after reflection, I chose the latter path, although my conclusions were rejected by many. Some agreed with me and rejected Bhaktipad as their spiritual master. One godbrother threatened I would be dead meat if I didn't stop my blasphemy, because he was writing these books. Fast forward another 20 or so years, during my research about the history of New Vrindavan, I discovered, much to my surprise and chagrin, that many, if not all, of the anomalies at New Vrindavan, which generated much controversy and pain, were in fact recommended by the ISKCON founder Acharya years earlier, cheating and lying to people on Sankirtan to sell more books and make more money. Letter, December 30, 1972. Husbands beating their wives, room conversation, April 12th, 1969. Marrying off young girls to older men, back to Godhead, November 20th, 1958. Allowing male disciples to take more than one wife, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, 1458, excuse me, etc. So there's even more, but he's so there's even more, but he's not including them. He's like, that's enough. But he's saying that all of these things that he heard, that he knew about New Vrindavan that were bad things, that he thought were bad things, were coming from Prabhupada. He didn't know that until he started doing research into this. Similar to how I found out, similar to the research that I did. When I was researching so many things, I was coming across a lot of questionable. Anyway, so he says he realized that these things, the lying, the cheating, the beating of the wives, marrying off young girls to older men, allowing male disciples to take more than one wife, all these things he learned were coming from Prabhupada. And more. He didn't list them all, and more. And then he says, and I had been taught that Prabhupada was an infallible and divine being, just as I had been taught that Bhaktipad was also an infallible and divine being. The New Vrindavan elders told me. Prabhupada explained, quote, Kirtananda is now a fully Krishna conscious person. Letter, August 1967. Kirtananda, he is a pure devotee. Morning Walk, Los Angeles, 1972. I blessed Kirtananda Swami to go back to Godhead in this life. Conversation, Los Angeles Temple Room, June 1976. Then he goes on to say, yes, I admit both Bhaktipad and Prabhupada in their own unique ways were great preachers of Gaudiya Vaishnavism and accomplished great wonders, but neither were infallible or perfect divine beings, in my opinion. I have no problem with people worshiping Prabhupada or Bhaktipad as a great preacher of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, but don't they see that he sometimes made mistakes and cheated others? Worship all you want, just don't call him infallible and divine. So that I have a problem with that, because I don't feel that there's no reason to consider Bhaktipad and Prabhupada unique in their own unique ways, great preachers of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, because Gaudiya Vaishnavism is actually just a pedophile cult started by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or the six Goswamis, however you want to look at it. But that's what it is. And I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody. You don't have to. You don't. You don't have to. It's not an attack on Hinduism or anything like that. But there is no preaching Gaudiya Vaishnavism and preaching the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Ramananda Roy and the child marriage and all of these things, and teaching it as it's some transcendental mission. To me, is not a great. It's not a great thing. It's not a great thing at all. It's a harmful thing. It's a harmful thing. It's just like he says here, cheating and lying to people on Sankirtan to sell more books and make more money. Husbands beating their wives, marrying off young girls to older men, allowing male disciples to take more than one wife, etc., etc., and allowing and protecting pedophiles, and saying that having sex with 12-year-old girls is not pedophilia because they have to be 11 or younger. I mean, it's just that's what that's what Prabhupada's preaching. That's what Prabhupada's teaching. That's Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And Bhaktipad and Prabhupada were preaching this, and somehow they're unique and great preachers of this. No, I don't see it that way. Anyway, I don't see it like that way at all. I see it as a dangerous. If you're cheating and lying, beating your wives, marrying young girls off to older men, that's violence, and that's criminal. It's violence. It's nothing to be proud of. It's nothing to be. It's nothing to worship. It's not divine. None of these people are divine. They're not graceful or divine or anything. They're cosplaying cheaters and scammers. That's what they are. And even though he wrote 3 books about how they murdered this guy and murdered that guy and did this and did that, he still feels like, well, if you want to worship Prabhupada and worship these guys, that's up to you. I don't see where that's a problem. And that's it goes back. I wanted to show a video from Knitting Cult later. I couldn't find it, but there's a video where she talks about how you respond to people's activities lets them know what they can do. So and so what that means is how the GBC and how ISKCON responds to pedophiles and gurus that act inappropriately. It signals to the gurus what they can do and what they can't do. Look, every time a Lokanath Swami or one of these gurus is caught and nothing happens to them, and they're allowed to go to Juhu Beach or go to here or there, or just go away for a few years and then come back, and they all see that, and then you set up a system where that is allowed, where that's the system. But if people would stand up, it's like just like the molester on Watsika Avenue First of all, they got one molester living in the community, which lets another molester signals to other people that molesters can stay on the. I mean, the whole community knew. So it signals to the molester, well, I can stay here. They didn't kick me out. So they're tolerating my presence. They tolerate pedophiles in this community. So now they ended up with 2 pedophiles. Now they got another one. The guy gets his hands on my daughter. And the whole community supports the pedophile. So now both pedophiles are like, well, hey, they didn't do anything to him. They didn't do anything to me. They didn't turn us into the police. They didn't even kick us out of the building. So that's the community that they created for themselves. And you know, if this guy was like, no, Bhaktipat and Prabhupada were child molesters and they did this, this guy already knows all the he already knows all the things that he says here. Fast forward 30 years, I found myself in a similar predicament. After serving my ISKCON-approved spiritual master for 15 years, I discovered from reliable sources that he was not what he appeared to be. He had been regularly giving fellatio to teenage boys for many years, an activity prohibited for one in the renounced order of life. I think I don't know, giving fellatio to teenage boys is pretty much prohibited everywhere if the boy is underage, teenage boy, if he's underage. It's not allowed anywhere, really. I think that's the point. He says, after speaking with him in private about this, I rejected him as my spiritual master as he was not qualified to serve in that post, at least according to Prabhupada's definition. But he didn't leave the movement. He didn't say to me, no, this is a scam. This guy's supposed to be a pure devotee. He's giving fellatio to teenage boys. They told me he was a spiritual master. I've been following this guy 15 years. This has been going on 15 years. He says, however, I was in a quandary. Should I just quietly stop my service at New Vrindavan and keep my mouth shut, or should I warn my godbrothers and sisters of the danger to their spiritual lives if they continue to worship him as a pure devotee? You know, you got to get out of the cult. See, he found all this stuff out. He realized that Prabhupada was the one who said that they could cheat and beat and child marriage. He found out Prabhupada is the architect of all that. He found out that his own guru was giving fellatio to teenage boys. He wrote books about this cult murdering people. He's written 3 books: Gold, Guns, and God, Killing for Krishna, and Deranged Devotion. But he still says down here, hey, if you want to worship these guys, you know, Bhaktipat and Prabhupada in their own unique ways were great preachers of this Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Unique way. Unique way. You wrote 3 books about how this guy orchestrated the murder of like 3 devotees? And you say that's a unique way of preaching, this guy? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be critical of this Henry Doktorsky guy with his books. I mean, I on one hand, I think it's great that he has written these books and he said, you know, he's spilled the truth, but I don't know if he's still caught up in this cult. Because this was January 1st, 2025. This was this year that he wrote this. This year, January 1st, 2025, he says, yes, I admit both Bhaktipat and Prabhupada in their own unique ways were great preachers of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Well, what are they preaching that's so great? What's so great about this Gaudiya Vaishnavism? That Ramananda Roy can rub his hands all over naked girls? Little underage naked girls? While Chota Haridas has to kill himself for begging for good rice from Mahadevi, the old lady? Teaching little kids that the lion man comes out of the pillar and kills everybody, and then puts the guy on his and rips his stomach out. You think that's good for little kids to be learning stuff like that? And stealing the kids, little girls' clothes, making them cover their pubic area with their hands coming out of their. I mean, that's what they're teaching the little girls and little boys. Krishna book. But this is what Krishna did. And if Krishna steals your clothes, wants to see you naked in front of you, that's what you're supposed to do. Little girls supposed to do that. I mean, what's the? You tell me what the moral of that story is. You tell me what that is. What's the point of that story? Other than Krishna stole their clothes and wanted to see them naked. Like any little boy, like a little schoolboy wants to see. He's like wants to show and tell. He wants to show me yours, I'll show you mine, or something like that. I get that. But is that appropriate to be teaching little kids that when the girls take off their clothes and get in the water, and the Krishna and his friends come and they steal the clothes, take them out, and the little girls got to come out of they got to come out of the water naked and go up in front of the Krishna and get their clothes back, cover themselves, feel humiliated and embarrassed. You think a little girl reading that and hearing that story is going, wow, I hope I never have to do that, or that's pretty mean, or I don't know. Because I was a grown man when I heard that. I don't know what it's like, what that story has effect on little 6 and 7, 8-year-old girls, 6, 7, 8-year-old boys. They hear that. I missed a lot of comments because Wolf Warrior was kind of bringing me down. Wolf Warrior is having some issues. Hey, Paz, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Good to see you here. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, hey, I love doing it, man. I know I'm helping people just like you. I'm helping everybody. And then we got Ann. Hey, Ann, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, the GBC just forgives them by offering them a free holiday. Yeah, they get room and board, and maybe Juhu Beach if they want to go surfing, or they go to Mayapur if they want to kind of do the jungle life thing. Only the misguided believe that deceit can produce an honest harvest. That's the thing. Is like we don't know we're being deceived. They say this is an ancient tradition from India. It's 5,000 years old. It's Vedic. It's for Sanskrit. There's all this stuff, but we don't know. We try to look it up, but now it's easier to find the answers now. But when I joined, let's say 10, 15, 20 years ago, even then it was difficult because not everything is digitized. Not everything was searchable as it is like now. I mean, pretty much now everything is, you can pretty much find almost anything online. But 92, there was nothing online. But to speak of even before that in the 70s when you didn't have it, people were cheated. These guys were cheated and got sucked into this shit, and they had no idea what it was. They had no idea. No idea. Unless they go to India. And still, even if they went to India, they ain't going to find out any information about this stuff. totally get how the system allows and justifies abuse. Naturally, folk that want to abuse will be attracted to that. Yeah, but but those that want to abuse. But if you get into a cult and the teachings are telling you that you can smack your wife around, that's fine. It's okay to beat a woman. It's okay to beat a drum, a dog, a woman. It's okay to beat a woman. And don't trust them because they're not trustworthy. And they have small brains and they like to be raped. It's one thing that you have some crazy views like that on your own. You come into a spiritual organization. The spiritual organization is not supposed to put those ideas in your head. Spiritual, you go to church, is supposed to tell you, hey, you shouldn't beat your wife. Hey, you shouldn't be lying and cheating. You shouldn't be, little girls, No, this cult is like, hey, you want to smack your wife around? Hey, that's okay. Because Chanakya Pandit says you can beat a dog, a drum, and a woman. You can beat them. It's okay. It's okay. Smack your wife around. Just ask Nar Narayan. Ask Gopal Krishna. Ask these guys. Well, they're dead, but you ask. They beat their wives like it was some eggs for breakfast, making an omelet. I mean, it's one thing, it's one thing to be, hey, I'm horny and I'm a horn dog and I want to have sex all the time. I'm looking for women all the time. And then to get into a cult that says, hey, 12-year-old girls are, must be married by 12 years old. Got to get them married by 12. And you're like, get some guys like, I like young girls. 12? Wow, I didn't know I could have a 12-year-old girl. This cult creates these wackos. And believe me, it creates them. If it can get you to believe in there's a demon head eating the moon, then it can convince you that your 12-year-old daughter, 13-year-old daughter needs to be married because, hey, she's not really your daughter anyway. This is just all temporary. They fill your heads with all kinds of crap. You got to connect all these dots. If they're brainwashing you and grooming, they're brainwashing you that these kids are not really your kids. They got all these kids in the Gurukula. The parents just threw them in there and just went off to go play Hare Krishna. Where'd they get that idea? Where'd they get that idea? Where these women get the idea that they just marry their daughters off at 12, 13 years old? American women, Western women, they didn't grow up with that shit. You're getting that out of Prabhupada's books, getting that from this Varnashram and this Sanatana Dharma, whatever the crap it is. This cult is creating these wackos that believe in this stuff. They believe that a demon head's eating the moon. Believe that they're going to space travel and go to the cow planet and become an 11-year-old girl. They believe that a statue walked from Vrindavan all the way to Jagannath Puri or wherever it walked to. There's a spaceman flying through the planets playing a guitar and ding, 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 chanting Hare Krishna. They believe that. They believe that. It ain't hard for them to go, okay, well, women like to be raped. They got small brains. They're dumb. I can have a 12-year-old wife. Well, you think that having a 12-year-old wife is wacky, but believing that there's a demon head eating the moon is not wacky? Mayapur, Juhu, Mumbai, or faraway hidden farm resorts in India. Currently 2 in hiding in India, namely Giriraj and Trivikram. Guru is like it's like instead of where's Waldo, it's where's Guru, and you gotta try to find them. That's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. It is. It's crazy. Two in hiding, but two in hiding, but many with foreign abuse, forgiven abuse, and rehabilitated. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. These guys commit some horrible crimes, abusing little girls, abusing little kids, abusing little girls, abusing little kids, getting away with it, and then getting a room in Mayapur and a personal assistant or a room in Juhu Beach, and I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I still want to know what happened to Trivikram, to his girlfriend disciple. What happened to her? She pregnant? If she was pregnant, she's gonna have a baby pretty soon. That's crazy. We don't hear about her. He got a room in Juhu Beach, but what about her? What'd she get? What'd she get for being abused and used and abused and discarded and what happened to his marriage ashram? What happened to that thing? I thought he was going to do this big marriage. I'm going to have a marriage ashram. You know, it's a fucking scam, these guys. With Trivikram scamming and friggin' the swimmer guys scamming. Swimmer pod. All these fucking scammers, man. Ruining people's lives. Just ruining people's lives, man. Sucking people in so they can end up selling stupid books like a goose with a candle, selling friggin'. It's no different. I see these Scientology people out on the streets setting up tables and selling their Dianetics books, all dressed up in their khakis and their red T-shirts like their little uniforms. Like they're brahmacharis, like they're out on book distribution, like they're on Sankirtan. They got their book tables set up, trying to hustle books. That's the same shit. The same shit Hare Krishnas do the same shit. Except Hare Krishna is pretending that they're cosplaying as 16th century Bengalis. And Scientologists are just cosplaying as fucking nerds. Freaking science fiction nerds, that's all they are. They might as well have their pocket protectors and their glasses with Scotch tape hold. I mean, they're just completely nerds out there thinking that they think they're saving the world too. They're just like you. They worship L. Ron Hubbard. They believe every fucking word comes out of his mouth, just like you believe every word comes out of Prabhupada's mouth. And they're out there on the street setting up a book table, selling L. Ron Hubbard books, just like you freaks are out there selling Prabhupada's books. And no different. And they all dressed up in a uniform, so they all look the same. You guys are all dressed up with your shaved heads and your thing, all looking the same. It's a fucking freak show. You guys don't even know it. Because you believe they bullshit about it's a 5,000-year-old Vedic. It ain't no 5,000-year-old anything. Ain't no Vedic anything. There ain't nobody was doing this 5,000 years ago. They weren't even doing it 1,000 years. They weren't even doing it 500 years ago. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wasn't even chanting Hare Krishna. He was chanting some other bullshit. You guys are full of shit. Yeah, it's one of the funniest things. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's just hilarious, man. I gotta study that. I gotta study that Kiwi. Yeah, I know. Many Many rehabilitated, many ran away with fat bank accounts, millions of dollars, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Yep. And then they come back. And they come back. Like Rameshwar coming back after running off. These guys have no shame. Sitting there preaching about no sex, preaching about all this bullshit, and then he runs off with a 14-year-old girl, takes a bunch of money, runs off with a 14-year-old girl or 15-year-old, 14-year-old girl. And he's gone. He's just gone. Nobody knows what he's doing. He's just gone for like 10 years. 10, maybe 15 years. He's just, nobody's heard. He's just gone. And then he shows up one day. And this is the whole thing. He shows up one day, is again, it goes right back to what Knitting Coat Lady says. He shows up one day. Instead of everybody going, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You ain't no Swami. You ain't no nothing. You're full of shit. You took off with a 14-year-old girl and you stole money and you were supposed to be a Swami and you're nothing but a big piece of shit. You need to get the fuck out of here. Don't come back here. No, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They said, oh, yeah, come on in. We've been waiting for you. Oh, Rameshwar. Oh, yeah, I remember you. They let him right back in. Why? Because why did he feel like he could come back? Because they did that to everybody. Every other fucking guru that ever left and did something wrong has been able to come back. Bhavananda, Kirtanananda was able to leave. And Prabhupada kicked him out and then let him come right back. And Lokanath Swami. What's the worst thing that's going to happen to these guys? And even if they're so wretched, which I don't know how they could be, that they get kicked out, which I think maybe one or two have actually been kicked out. They just go off to do their own thing anyway. Like they don't care. There's no repercussion. These guys belong in jail for what these guys do. Jail. These guys belong in jail. Something is known about the physical and sexual abuse, but they keep even quieter about the financial fraud. They got these guys, it's like multi-level marketing, and these gurus are like at the top of their own little pyramid. And they're just raking in cash. Getting donations, they're bringing in little donations, big donations, they're collecting. Guy flies an entourage to London to go swim in a friggin' 10K swim or whatever the fuck it is. And he's a Swami. He wants you to believe he's a Swami. I lived in a farm at Swimmerpod's country in Hungary. That guy makes me sick. He's passing himself off as some kind of Vedic scholar or some smart man, Swami. So I can debate, fake debate. Like, you can't debate nobody because you're not debating anybody but your own friggin' disciples who are pretending to be someone they're not. You won't debate anybody. Why would anybody debate you anyway? You're just a friggin' Hare Krishna. They're like debating a friggin' Boy Scout about tying knots or something. Like, better things to do and do that. Exactly. It's a tail between legs, runaway technique. They always come to the conclusion that they're untouchable since they're devotees above the law and transcendental. Yeah, they got this whole, well, they have to forgive me, and I was a guru, and this whole thing, like, you know, and it was like that even with me, with Yashodananda. When I met Yashodananda, and it was like, well, he used to be a Swami, and I was like, instead of me going, well, why aren't you a Swami anymore? and making him feel like shit for not being a Swami anymore. Like, why aren't you a Swami? What did you do? What happened? Well, why would you want to get married? If you're a Swami and you're traveling around and you're collecting money and you're building the Krishna Balaram temple and you got a plaque that has your name on it that says this temple was built by Yashodanandan and Guru Kripa, and you were like way up here and you're like preaching and you know Sanskrit and you know verses and you were in the school and you did it, how did you fall down? How did that happen? But we don't do that in Hare Krishna. We go, oh, Prabhu, no offense. So then he's like, I can still be treated like a Swami. I'm Yashodanandan Das, but everybody treats me like Swami. Meanwhile, what about me? Like, I've been in it for 20 years. You guys treat me like I'm a new guy, but I haven't done anything like, I was never a Swami and then nosedive into the Grand Canyon and fall down and marry a non-devotee. Why are we all respecting him like he's a holy man? When he fell down and got married and as a non-devotee wife, and he's Yashodanandan Swami. How does that make sense? There's a bunch of the biggest friggin' scam. And that's the thing is, you know, is our attitude. This is what Knitting Cult Lady goes back to what you say. Our attitude towards them. Like the first time I caught any devotee being a hypocrite or anything, I didn't call him out on it because I was like, I don't want to be offensive, but like, why are you sitting here preaching to me like you're like you're a holy man, and then you turn around and you're smoking cigarettes or smoking pot or smoking whatever or doing whatever. Like why aren't these people being held? Why aren't they being held to any standard? Because they're not allowed to. We have to forgive them we have to forgive them for everything. And then they become accustomed to it. Well, I deserve to be forgiven. I'm a pure devotee. Fuck you, ain't no pure devotee. You ain't no pure anything. But as long as they're being treated like it, as I say, they're high on their own supply. This Gorahari, they're like this Gorahari. What has he done to be his grace? Srila Gorahari? Because he makes the hot lips laugh. She's evidently she's nuts already. Him making her laugh and cry like no big accomplishment because she already has issues. And if you notice, these other people in his videos are not acting like her. So somehow, whatever he's putting on her is not working on the other ones because they're just sitting there like going, This is a friggin' scam all the way around. So I wanted to show this video. I think Rafael sent a bunch of these videos in, and I just, some of them I can't, some of them, it's like this one. Everything we know, this one is really disturbing because everything we know about this cult, the pedophilia, Indra Yumna Swami with the little girls, Ramananda Roy with the little girls, Krishna with the little girls, all the child marriage, Prabhupada with the 11-year-old wife, Prabhupada saying 12-year-old girls must be married. Even Henry Doktorsky says in his thing, Prabhupada was saying that. Even he's the first one. He's the first one that I've seen that has like said, hey, Prabhupada the child promotes this child marriage in his books. You know, I thought I was the only one, but evidently he look at this. So everything we know about little girls, touching little girls, marrying little girls, women like to be all these things. And that they got the nerve, they got the balls to put this.
Krishna. Welcome to Innocence Meets Wisdom with His Holiness Chandramoli Swami Maharaj, the senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Happy to be with you.
Dear Maharaj, is it true that Srila Prabhupada's father...
Is it true? Is it true that they want me to get married when I'm 12 years old and I'll not have a future? I won't have any self-determination? And that my father is just going to pick out some man for me to marry? And that I have a small brain because I'm a woman and I'm a little girl and because I'm a female and I don't have equal rights? I don't have equal rights because I'm a little girl. I'm going to grow up to be a woman with bad karma because I'm Maya and I'm going to be. She's going to be treated. I don't even want to think about it. You know, the child marriage, the getting smacked around by her husband, and they promote this, and they have her on there, talking to this Swami, talking to a Swami.
Yes, it is true. Those deities are still in ISKCON somewhere. And those were Prabhupada's worshipful deities. And they were Radha Govinda. That was the name of the deities.
Dear Maharaj, during Srila Prabhupada's childhood, which was his favorite dham?
Well, Prabhupada talks about how he would, when he was young, he would go to Jagannath Puri, which is not so far from Calcutta.
I understand what they're trying to do. You know, they're trying to have like a spiritual Sesame Street or something. I don't know. Like, hey, we can, you know, little kids and, you know, help it. I don't like it with the little kids. I don't like the grooming. And the reason I don't like it is because of the pedophilia, the child marriage, all these wacky, they're not just wacky. Again, that's giving them credit and to say, oh, that's crazy. No, it's dangerous. It's dangerous and violent. It's dangerous and violent to say that women have small brains, they're stupid, they're less intelligent, they like to be raped. You can smack them around. There's 3 things you can beat: a woman, a drum, and a dog. No. No. That's violence against women. That's not. That's like hate speech. If I was, well, I don't know, in today's climate, I don't know. But if I was running for office of something, so I don't know, and I got up and I started talking about how 12-year-old girls need to be married to grown 25-year-old men. And my platform is women are stupid and they have small brains. And my platform is they like to be raped. And my platform is all these racist things. Black people are ugly and belong in the jungle. Homosexuals are come out of the ass of Lord Brahma. And they're insane and crazy and mentally ill. And gurus can do whatever they want. If I was saying all this stuff, and I wasn't dressed like this nut, he's dressed like this nut, and he reads it out of a book, well, then he's a holy man. But if I say it, if I got up and started saying this stuff, people would go nuts. I was running for governor or something. Some or most were kind of fed up with his decisions in managing his Hungarian yachts. Yeah, you know that guy. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get the swimmer pod in a bit. New Vrajdom. I'm not sure where that. Oh, is that in Hungary? That's in Hungary. Um, not all the people are brainwashed. Uh, I don't know. I mean, there is hope. I mean, everyone in the cult is brainwashed. We have to accept that. If you're in it and you're chanting and getting up early and you're doing all that and you're reading the books, you're following probably even this Henry Doktorsky guy, who wrote these 3 books. He knows about the murders. He knows about the gurus. He knows that there's still some stuff going on. There's like some residue left over and there's a lot of people like that. You know, there's just, you know, Korahari makes me go good when he blows his nose. Yeah, he's, it's transcendental pastime. Yeah, I think he's teaching it to, let me see. Do I have it? I thought I had him. Yeah, let's see. Since you bring it up, let's just go for it.
Vasudeva Krishna 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 Radhe Krishna Radhe Radhe Radhika 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 Radhe Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Radhe Krishna Yashoda Krishna Vedanandana Krishna Vasudeva 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 Yashodanandana Devaki Tanaya Devaki.
So evidently he's teaching them how to blow their nose in transcendental ecstasy. I guess my evil twin. I guess blowing your nose is one of the 26, 26 symptoms of being a devotee is blowing your nose. Yeah, it's the wacky race. The wacky race is bad. It is Chandramali, ex New Vrindavan, little girl. What's wrong with this picture? Parents, man, I know it's like who told him that's a good idea? Like, hey, let's put you and this little girl, and she can interview you and ask you questions about Hare Krishna. I mean, it's it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, is there anyone? I don't know. Is this the blowing of the nose? The blowing of the nose is it's like first he blew his nose. First he blew his nose, and then she had to get that like kind of motivated her to get hurt. I don't know. It's a wacky, it's a wacky thing, but she's the only one that he's got giggling and crying like that. The other ones they just chanting like normal people chanting, and I really think that I don't like it. He's taking advantage of her, and he just feeds off it. He likes it. He likes it. I mean, otherwise, why are you doing this? It just makes no sense. I don't know. I don't like it. It's creepy. It's disturbing, and the fact that she's giggling and crying, the whole thing it makes it that much worse. It makes it that much worse. The blowing of the nose, the blowing of the nose. I know it's like, I guess it's like prashadam. I don't know. I don't want to think about it. It's that's some crazy stuff. So I got some more videos here. So we got the little girl. That's disturbing. That is just crazy. But now we got this nut, and we got this. I'm telling you, the Three Stooges it was perfect, because these guys all three of these guys are just insane. Let's see what this guy has to say. So, you were a friend with Gorahari on Facebook. So I know. Oh my goodness. Oh man. So let's look at this and see. Oh, we got. Oh.
Happiness? No. Sex means suffering. I've spoken about this quite a few times previously, and you might wonder, well, why am I talking about this on and on? Anyone who reads the books of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON, can't help but notice that it is a theme that repeatedly occurs within the books that he has translated, Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it's a subject that he speaks on a lot. Shastra considers it important for us to understand. Prabhupada thinks it important for us to understand that sex means suffering, because it is, and we're all bound in this material.
All right, let me see. There's a comment here. Word of caution to anyone with any kind of mental illness, health issues: be very careful getting too deeply into ISKCON, as it guarantee it will mess with your head big time. Okay, absolutely. Absolutely. Look at this guy. This guy looks like the Crypt Keeper. But that's not even the point. But the point, though, that I want that I bring up this is, this guy's going to talk about sex and why sex means suffering. He's going to give a lecture about sex, as if this man has ever had sex. I don't know if he's ever had sex, but look at him. Does he look like someone who knows anything about sex and the pleasures of sex with a woman, having loving exchanges, romance, sexual excitement, romantic excitement, loving feelings and emotions, being in love with someone, or just not even going. You don't even have to go that far. Just enjoying yourself with someone of the opposite sex or the same sex, and just enjoying your time with that person in an enjoyable way. Why is that? Does he look like someone that's ever done that? Like he would know anything about sex? Like he would know anything about sex or love or romance? Or not even sex in a loving way, but just sex for sex enjoyment. Like, does he look like a kind of guy who would know anything about pleasuring himself in a porno theater, or getting a prostitute, or trying to pick up a woman in a bar, or watching? I mean, does he look like anyone who would ever have any notion of what sex really is? The pleasures of a sexual encounter? What to speak of falling in love and having sex with someone that you really are having a loving romantic relationship with? Just the sex act itself can be an enjoyable, pleasurable thing that many people enjoy just on that level. Does he look like the kind of person that can have any kind of opinion or suggestion or advice or anything? I mean, would you go to this guy if you're having problems with your boyfriend or your girlfriend and ask him? I know a priest is not much, is, you know, I would go to a priest before I'd go to this nut. At least a priest has been through a seminary. He's been to some kind of a Catholic college or some kind of a, teaching. What has this guy done? Read Prabhupada's books? Another man that knows nothing about sex? Knows nothing about love? What has this Hugh Turvey ever done? What has he ever done except wear that orange thing and put that bag of beads around his neck and act like he's a holy man? He's no holy man. What has he ever done? Sold books out of a shopping cart in Costco parking lot? Sit on a little chair like that and recite fairy tales? And explain the meaning of a fairy tale? Explain how when the gopi was boiling milk and the milk boiled over on the stove and it was in the mood of this because the milk didn't want to be left alone when Krishna flute was and the milk, and she's going, that's like telling me, that's like trying to explain to me old Mother Hubbard and why she had so many children in the shoe and the type of shoe that it was and where the children slept in the shoe. I don't give a, what do I care? There was an old woman, she lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. I don't need to know what kind of shoe and what kind of leather was on the bottom of the shoe and where all the kids were sleeping and where the chimney was. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, if you want to make that shit up and tell me about it, knock yourself out. But I don't need to hear that because it doesn't matter. It does no meaning. It's absolutely no significance to tell me, oh, do you know that old Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard and the manufacturer of the cupboard was a company called Cupboards Are Us. And when she opened up the cupboard, there was nothing in there except, there was supposed to be a bone in there, and the kind of bone that she always kept in that cupboard, it was a certain kind of bone. It was like a chicken bone, but it was like not the leg. It was like the other thing, and it was always on the second shot. I don't need to know that. You can sit and tell me, well, when Krishna did this and he did that. Yeah, well, Jiva Goswami wrote a whole book about what happened when Krishna was dancing with Hey, the guy had nothing better to do. The guy was sitting in a forest writing stories on a palm leaf. It's like telling me, Rapunzel telling me what kind of curlers Rapunzel used to curl her hair. And what kind of rocks the castle. I don't care. Are you going to sit there and tell me like you're some kind of holy man because you know all these details about what kind of milk was boiling over when the gopis were heard and what the cow was thinking when the gopis left and how Mother Yashoda was tripped over her sari when chasing after and she was chasing after Krishna when he stole the milk and because she was smiling and it was the sari fell down and somehow that makes you a holy man. You can sit there with your beads and your stick. You can try and fill my head with a bunch of mumbo jumbo and make me think that makes you important. Hey, you're important. Because you chingy ching and you tell me freaking bedtime stories, literal bedtime stories that you guys read at 8 o'clock at night before you're going to go to bed. You're going to open up the Krishna book and you're going to read some freaking fairy tales, so you can all go to bed dreaming about Krishna and his fairy tales. This guy, and he's going to talk about sex. He's going to explain sex to somebody. Why sex means suffering? Sex means suffering to you because you don't have sex. You never could have sex, most likely. This is like Crypt Keeper. It looks like the Crypt Keeper pod. Bhakti Crypt Keeper. Gorahari, but lost because of paranoia and schizophrenia. Oh, he lost disciples. Gorahari is high on his own supply. He was accusing them for considering him a fraud. He is a fraud. He's a fraud, just like they're all frauds. Just like this guy's a fraud. This guy is such a big ass fraud. Bhakti Vikas, big on warning of the dangers of sex, but also big on forgiving fake gurus for fault us. Yeah, he's big on forgiving pedophiles. He pals around with Bhaktivedanta Purna Swami, Indrayumna Swami. He's a big faker, cosplaying scammer. But because they know these fairy tales inside and out, that makes them holy, man. Meanwhile, what they believe is friggin' extremist Taliban shit. How does that make them holy? How does that make them holy? He's going to talk about how sex is bad, but it's not bad for a 12-year-old girl when she wants to get married. For a 25-year-old man wants a 12-year-old wife, then sex is perfectly okay.
World by sex attraction. And I'm going to give an overview of some of the main reasons that Srila Prabhupada gave, derived from Shastra, derived from his personal realization.
So he's going to give instructions based on what Prabhupada says, Prabhupada's instructions, Prabhupada's experience, not his own, because he doesn't know. He wouldn't know how to please. He wouldn't know how to please a woman. Does he look like he could please a woman?
And we can all observe and we can all experience this maybe shocking statement that sex is suffering. It may be shocking because
something deeper is going on.
It's advertised that sex means happiness.
More commercials.
But it's not. And it's important for us all, for everyone, to understand that sex, it's just integrally interlinked with suffering. And we need to know that because we all want to get free of suffering. I already compiled these points quite elaborately in my book, Brahmacharya and Krishna Consciousness, which I first published.
So, yeah, he wrote a book on not having sex because that's all he knows is not having sex. He doesn't know the joy of having sex. He doesn't know how to fall in love. He's never fallen in love with a woman. He's never exchanged loving emotions and had feelings for a woman or for anyone. He pretends to have emotions for an imaginary figure that he thinks is there.
More than 25 years ago,
but cannot have. He thinks he has a relationship with an imaginary person, but he can't have a real relationship with a real person. That he can't do.
Within the ISKCON world has become something of a classic within its own genre. What are we talking about here? The whole material creation is.
And what really turns me off, what really gets me out of this guy is the smugness of his and the way he wants to speak as if he's got everything he said. Every word is so important, as if every word coming out of his mouth is nectar. Is nectar, and we're just eating it up. He thinks he thinks this is impressive. It's really pretty goofy to me and just revealing.
It's moving under the principle of sex life. This is taken from Srila Prabhupada's writings. The attraction between male.
He says it's taken from Prabhupada's writings, teachings. He can't explain it like this is what I observe. This is my experience. No, he says this is from what I've read in Prabhupada's books. Everything is from what he's read in Prabhupada's books.
And female is the basic principle of material existence. Sex life is the background of material existence. Materialistic life is based on sex.
Well, we have to reproduce. But the other thing is, well,
there are so many things going on in the world. Maya takes many forms. But the basic principle that binds us in this world is the sex attraction, which causes the repetition of birth and death. I mean, just try to understand how painful.
Just try to understand that I'm only speaking from a book and the teachings of these books that were written, 2,000 years ago. And some of them only 1,000 years ago. And some of them only 500 years ago. And less than that. And some of them we don't even know who wrote them. And we don't even know, and we're not even sure of the translations or anything. And I'm just basing it off of these books. I have no evidence for anything I'm saying. I have no personal experience of anything I'm saying. This is just the stuff that the man that you see in the painting, in the picture behind me, is stuff that he said in his books. And I read it and I accept it as the truth. And I have no evidence and no reason to accept it as evidence. I have no reason to accept it as the truth. No evidence or reason to, other than I just do. Because the man in the picture that you see behind me, he tells me to. And so everything I'm saying is just based on what he says and what he thinks. Because I can't think for myself. I'm sitting here like I'm a really smart person. I got my stick and I got my bag. And like I know everything and I got all this. But actually, all I know is coming from what the guy behind me says. And really, you don't even need me to sit here and tell you what he said. Because you can go and read what he says on your own. Just like I do. And you could be sitting here wearing an orange outfit with a stick and a bag and a picture of this guy behind you. And you could, I mean, everything that I've read from him, you can read too. So you really don't even need me. You can just read his books. In fact, it's all online. You can just read everything he said. Just start at the beginning and just work your way through it. Read it all. You don't need me at all. Because all I'm saying is what I've read from him. And you can read it too. So what the hell am I doing here talking to you when I don't even, what you don't need me, I don't need you. What has he done that he can explain to me? What experiences have you had where you can sit there and say, based on my experiences? No, you can't. You can say everything is based on Prabhupada's teachings, Prabhupada's books. If you study, if you read his books, and you'll understand, and you'll see this, that, and the other, and everything. Well, what do I need you for? The fuck I need you for? I'll just read everything he has to say, come to my own conclusion. What do I need you to sit there and tell me why sex means suffering if everything you're saying is coming from Prabhupada's books? I'll just read Prabhupada's book. The fuck I need you for? This guy's a fucking fraud, scammer I've ever seen one. He joined as a young teen, never married. Yeah, these guys. What does he fucking know? He's like, he's gonna sit there, you know. No exercise equals no sport injury. Yeah. What do you know about sex means suffering when you've never had sex? You've never suffered. You've never had your heart broken by a woman or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. I don't know if the guy's gay or not. It doesn't matter. I don't care. He's never had a relationship where he's had to break up with someone or someone broke up with him. He's never been in a loving relationship where he's been rejected or had to reject someone or pursued someone that didn't want him or was pursued by someone he didn't want. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Sex means suffering. What does he know about sex? If sex means suffering and it's so bad and everything, why are all these gurus chasing after these women? Why did Shodanandan fall down? Why was Kirtananda giving fellatio to these teenage boys? Why was Bhavananda giving fellatio to these teenage boys? Why does Indra Yumna got his hands all over these little girls? Why was Bhakti Vidyapurna and abusing kids in his school? Why'd Rameshwar run off with a 14-year-old girl? Why'd Trivikram have sex with his 35-year-old disciple? Why'd Giriraj having sex and texting photos around? And all these other guys. Why did Shodananda get married to a non-devotee? Why did Tattva Darshan go into Cambodia and have sex with 12-year-old girls? Why all this? Why is sex is so bad, suffering and Prabhupada? Why all this going on? I mean, there's a lot, and I'm just scratching the surface because I don't know all of these names. There's like a ton of names that I could be rattling off. I just don't know them all. I can't think of them. I can't keep track. I don't have a scorecard. It would look like a CVS receipt. It'd be like 50. It'd be a mile long. It'd be like a graduation. It'd be like we reciting names at a graduation. It would just go on for an hour and a half. And Bhakti Vadabodapurna and Bhakti Jananina Swami and Yodishadananda Swami and Kirtanananda Swami and Jayatirtha Swami and then Swami. It would just go on forever. If I had to name every name, it's insane. That's insane. That's insanity. That's freaking insanity. And this guy's gonna sit there and talk about why sex means suffering. He has some sexism to say. Yeah, he definitely has. Yeah, I don't think he knows about love at all. To follow him, you have to end all meaningful relationships and accept him as guru. You got to be mentally ill to accept this guy as anything other than a fraud. What the fuck is this guy going to teach anybody? I love reading the Dharmapad Buddhist Bible. It criticizes the Brahminical culture for being wrong and ignorant. That's interesting. Frankenswamy. Yeah, he's Frankenswamy. He is Bhakti Frankenswamy. Absolutely. Bhakti Frankenswamy. He looks like the Crypt Keeper. He looks like the Crypt Keeper from the old friggin' HBO show, whatever that was. Tales from the Crypt. So I want to get to the next video. So the next video, this is going to be a good one. Let me see. Because it just like what you said. The next video is here we go. Here we you wanted to hear him say something sexist. So let's just get right into it. This is what we're working with these guys, right? I mean,
What are you going to do if you know that this feminism is wrong, it's unnatural, it's not what Srila Prabhupada taught or instituted. What can you do? The first thing you can do, and you should do anyway, is to study Srila Prabhupada's teachings deeply and systematically. As you go through Srila Prabhupada's writings, you'll find that he taught that men and women are spiritually equal, but in the Varnashram Dharma system, which Srila Prabhupada wanted to be instituted, women and men have different duties based on their different natures. Different nature is swabhava, and different duty is swadharma. So it didn't change in the modern world. It didn't change since 1977 that women's swabhava, their basic nature, is different.
Okay, so a bunch of things going on in this clip. One thing's going on is, well, he's being sexist, but one thing is Prabhupada is teaching this sexism to his disciples. He's teaching this. So he taught this man to be a sexist and say women are not equal and feminism is wrong and feminism is bad. And now he's teaching it to everybody that he comes in contact with, that women are not equal, that they're equal spiritually, although they weren't equal in Prabhupada's movement. So his idea that men and women are equal spiritually is false. He's lying, because women are not equal in Prabhupada's movement. They are not temple presidents. They're not gurus. They're not have any position of authority. Prabhupada didn't allow that. Now, they may be allowing that now, but that doesn't mean that their views have changed. Women are not equal, even spiritually, because they don't go back to the spiritual world. Their husbands, they can take birth as a man, and then they can go back to the spiritual world. Women don't just go back to the spiritual world. They got to take birth as a man. They got to be attached to their husband and think of their husband so that they can get the body of a man and then go back to Godhead. Men and women are not equal spiritually. They're not equal spiritually. This guy's full of shit. He's saying women's lib is wrong. Women are not to be treated equal. Women shouldn't have equal rights. We don't have to treat women equally. He says they have different duties. They don't need to go to school. They don't need to learn the same things that men learn. If women are just having kids, cooking and cleaning, making clothes, they don't need to go to school. He's saying this is coming from Prabhupada's books. These are 5,000-year-old instructions. That nothing has changed in 5,000 years. It didn't change when Prabhupada left. It didn't change in 1977. This is the way it's supposed to be 5,000 years ago, and this is the way it's supposed to be now, and this is the way it's supposed to be in the future. Nothing's changed. There's no women's liberation. There's no equal rights. He's saying all of that. And what does he know about women? He's never around them. He's never had sex with a woman. He's never had a relationship with a woman. He's probably never even talked to a woman. He's never talked to a woman in a way that he would get to know one. A mature relationship, a mature adult relationship with a female. This guy doesn't know anything about that. Look at him. And he feels like this is the mental illness. He feels like he should be sitting there lecturing people about sex and about women's liberation and about women's rights and what women should be doing in life. This guy, this friggin' nut. This guy that's never friggin' met a woman or talked to a woman. He thinks he's smart enough. He thinks he's a holy man. And he can sit there and explain and tell women what they need to do and what not to do, what men need to do and not to do, whether you should get married or not, all this kind of crap. Who the fuck is this guy? He's no different than Gaurahari. He's no different than Gaurahari. Fucking up people's lives. Lying to them, cheating them, scamming them, taking their money. This guy's a big scammer, just like Swimmerpod, like Gaurahari, like all of them. A fucking scammer. I'm going to show you another fucking scammer. Let's see. Here he is again. This is the same fuck. Here he is again. Look at this guy. Advice to newlyweds. Like he's going to give advice to newlyweds now.
Warning about marriage, considering the horrible social situation within the world in which marriage is something like an economic contract than an actual religious sacrament or commitment.
What do you know about that? The fuck do you know about marriage? The fuck does he know about marriage? He's going to comment on marriage like he's been married 5 times. The mental illness.
I didn't say that under no circumstances anyone should marry. If you listen to the whole talk, you could understand that I was warning to be careful about who you marry so that it doesn't turn into a big mess like so many marriages do these days. And if you
turns in a big mess when they get involved with you because you want to split people up. You're just a big scam. What do you know about marriage? The fuck do you know about marriage? Fucking crypt keeper? I still can't believe it. I still chant from time to time. There's nothing wrong with chanting. I would say, I mean, if it makes you happy, it makes you happy. That's what I've always said for a long time. Hey, it's Kooky Falcon. Hey, Kooky, how you doing, man? I'm glad you're here. Your afternoon time, you can finally join in. Hey, I'm glad you're joining in today. There was pictures with Lalita Gunga sitting on Avadut Gaurahari's lap. Ugh. I found that was disgusting because he also has a wife. Ugh. He comes across, I don't know which one you're talking about coming across as creepy. They're all creepy. They're all creepy. Why anyone would take advice from a man who looks like a shadow of a human being is beyond me. I mean, does he look happy? Does he look like a happy person? Did Prabhupada really look happy? Do these guys look happy? Does this guy look happy? He seems miserable. He talks about marriage like it's crap. He talks about sex like it's crap. I did hear that the Hare Krishna divorce rate is way higher. It is way higher because they don't care about women. They don't care about being in marriage. Prabhupada's got their heads so screwed up that they just think like, oh, I'll just get married because I want to have sex, and then I'll just get rid of my wife when I don't want her anymore. Like Narayana. This guy got 8 wives. They're like Guy had like at least 5 wives, man, and a bunch of kids with each one of them. I don't even want to hear this guy anymore. I'm tired of this guy. I'm really tired of this guy. I can only take so much of this guy. I do want to show one more creepy guy. A couple more videos. Okay, so we did Gauri Hari Das. All right, Gauri Hari, we did him. Okay, so let's look at the other guy on the thumbnail, and that's this Harvard dumbass Swami. Let's see.
The supreme pathway towards that tattva. If that is a common understanding that all sampradayas hold, then where are we going to have disagreements? On the shape of our tilaks? You know?
Yeah, I was concerned about that.
I'm still adapting to California. I'm not from here.
And I also apologize when you came in, I didn't tell you my pronouns.
Equally guilty.
You know, any religious institution will be full of silliness. There's never going to be a lack. Like, hey, where's all the silliness? No, you'll find it. I was out there in the parking lots and sneaking in here.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I find it. Prakash is creepy. You know, I find it weird. Like, you know, I find it interesting that he made a crack about pronouns. Like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you my pronouns when I came in here. You know. And I know he did some gay marriages, and then he had to apologize for it, and I don't know, something happened for that. But I just don't understand why the crack about a gay marriage, or the crack about pronouns. Like, why does that bother you? You're supposed to be a holy man. This is again with the holy man. You're supposed to be a holy man. You're supposed to be this Swami. His grace, his divine grace, his holiness. Harvard dumbass Goswami. And yet he's going to make cracks about he's going to make cracks about pronouns, which is basically insulting to gay people. He's basically insulting gay people, like, hey, hi, I didn't tell you my pronouns when I came in here, sorry. Nah. You know, like what is it? Why the crack? Why the sarcastic, snarky thing about pronouns? No one asked, no one said anything. And then he's talking about we're silliness and this and that. I know it's this smug, I'm better, I'm smarter, I'm better than you, I know more. And the other guy's got a little bit of it too. I don't know. He if you got to wear an orange outfit, you know, I don't know. I didn't like that crack about the pronouns, as you can see. The fuck, jazz background. You should leave jazz alone. Don't they preach love? I know. I know. I know, man. I just let's get back to this guy. This guy's a jerk, and Harvard dumbass Swami. Here you go.
Sneaking in there.
Did you enjoy it?
It was an acquired taste. I'm putting aside basically all of my personal propensities to come out here and do this. Yeah. And it was that act of putting service first, I think, that I got a lot of mercy. And I think if we want to really establish the Yuga Dharma, we want to save this miserable planet, then to save the planet, it's not just for Indophiles. It has to be for people in general. And that's I think what's happening with Krishna West.
Okay, so did you notice? So I gotta bring it back. Did you notice? He says he wants to save the planet. That we got to save the planet. We're saving the planet, and it's not. I'm not exaggerating. It's not hyperbole. It's not. They think they're the Taliban with that this Varnashram, this child marriage, this polygamy, the child marriage, the wife beating, the racism, the sexism, that's going to cure the planet. That's going to cure the planet of this chaos, of all this crazy stuff. That's what he thinks. That this Krishna consciousness movement, this chanting of Hare Krishna, this pedophilia, this child marriage, this all of this crap is going to save the world. Their organization is so screwed up with child abuse and sexual abuse and lawsuits and gurus falling down, gurus having sex with their disciples, gurus having sex with little kids, all of this stuff. He thinks that that's going to save the world, that kind of crap is going to save the world? The fuck is wrong with these people? The fuck is wrong with these people? He thinks he's saving the world. He thinks he's going to save the planet. He thinks this shit is going to save the planet. Like the Taliban. If we can just get everybody to be Hare Krishnas, everything will be perfect. That's what he thinks. Well, first of all, they're delusional. Because that's never going to happen. But that's their plan. Just like I was saying in the other videos. They're thinking in the future after Armageddon, when the world ends and the cities are destroyed and everybody's dead and there's just a few people and they got their farms, and then we're going to take over the world and everyone's going to be Hare Krishna. It's a death cult. It's a death cult. This guy in orange represents Bhakti Marg, that Vishwanath guru. They're expending at the moment basically two clowns rubbing each other. Yeah, rubbing each other's egos. Yeah, I know. That's exactly what it is.
AI. Let's be real. Most people over 40.
Maharaj, Jai Gurudev, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. For those of you who don't know, Hidayananda Das Goswami, great personality in the Hare Krishna movement. And it's a privilege to have you here in this conversation today, to be in your house, actually. Thank you for giving me the space to be here.
Thank you.
So, Maharaj, one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you is you're somebody who, to my understanding, has been very concerned with presenting Vaishnavism successfully.
Okay, so let me just say this. I don't know who the guy in orange is. He says he represents Bhakti Marga, that Vishwanath guru. Okay. But he doesn't, he's unable to recognize the pedophilia and all the problems in Prabhupada's books and in ISKCON. He considers Hridayananda this great personality. ISKCON is a great thing in presenting Vaishnava. He doesn't see any issues with what they teach. This Bhakti Marga guy, this other guy, he doesn't have any problems with. I mean, if I was sitting there with Hridayananda, I'd say, so you went to Harvard and you still think there's a demon head eating the moon? Do you think that child marriage is Vedic too? And do you think that we should be practicing child marriage as Prabhupada says in his books? That's what I'd be saying to this guy. But this guy doesn't have an issue with that. Evidently, he believes in child marriage, or he believes he doesn't know. This guy doesn't know. Jesus, this guy's all in. This guy's all in. Oh, here's another one. Another one, Hare Krishna. We don't do that here, but go ahead. You knock yourself out.
To the wider public in a variety of different ways. And I would break it down into two halves. One is the internal sort of Vaishnava landscape, and between Vaishnavas, how that is all, let's say, reconciled, and how that then pours out from that inner landscape to the outside external population? And then once we go to that second phase, how do we bring Vaishnavism to people that are not part of the existing Vaishnava community and the challenges that come in that second step? And so my first area, it's something that I've encountered a lot. We're
okay, yeah, I can't get over that. I can't get over sannyasi with a house. Here you go, so freaking renounced. I know it's, you know, and he has no problem sitting there in his nice house in Beverly Hills or wherever he lives. I've been to his house in Beverly Hills. I don't know if he moved, but he's got a nice house in Beverly Hills. But he's renounced. He renounces everything except his house. He renounces everything. You know, these guys are so full of shit. And he went to Harvard, and this guy went to Harvard. This guy went to Harvard. It's insanity. It's insanity. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, here he calls himself Doctor. He's Dr. Resnick in this video. He's Dr. Resnick. The internal logic of religious fanaticism.
Well, if you look at certain times in European history, I would say that probably most people, or I would say very few people, thought it was a great idea to have complete religious freedom. And there are certain parts of the world, some of them not too far away, where over 90% of the people feel that if you change your religion, you should be killed. Over 90% of the people. So it's, you know, where is this coming from? I'll tell you where it's coming from. There's actually an internal logic. There's actually an internal logic to this, and the logic is valid if you make just a few simple, monstrous assumptions. The first assumption is that God is a psychopath. I mean, you don't say that, but that's what it amounts to. God is a psychopath. So that if you join the wrong religion, God will torture you, send you to hell forever. I mean, forever is a very long time. I mean, imagine having a child. Imagine your child being in pain and screaming, crying out to the mother or the...
Imagine being so deluded that you think that this guy is a smart person that can teach you something or tell you something. That this guy is some kind of a guru, thinking that this guy is a guru that's going to take you back to Godhead. That's going to teach you some kind of higher levels or some kind of higher stage of love of God, or he's going to teach you how to surrender and perform devotional service, and so you can get that 11-year-old body on the cow planet and have sex with Krishna under the full moonlight, on the full moon night, down by the river. This guy believes that he can teach you these. He's no different than Gaurahari. No different than Gaurahari.
Father for help. And the supreme loving Father can hear those screams and those cries for millions and billions of years and never help the child, because billions of years ago, in an infinitesimal little human life, you joined the wrong church. And you actually believed in me and tried to serve me, but wrong church.
So how is that any different than getting the wrong guru? How is it? What he's saying? That's interesting. Misappropriation of jazz. Gurus like to set themselves out as being different. It's all just brain. Yeah, that's what I was saying the other day. See, he's the Harvard guru, and then someone else is like, well, he's the Spanish speaking guru, and somebody else is the Eastern European guru. He's really good over there in Eastern Europe. He can make a lot of disciples over there. Yeah, he even speaks 3 or 4 Russian and Polish and Ukraine, whatever it is. And then we got the guy that the Indian body guru. He speaks with an Indian accent. He's really he's good. And then we got Dave Amrita, the black body guru. He's a devotee. He's a guru for the black body devotees. They can get initiated by him. We got a guru. We got a specialty guru for everything. We got we got it. What do you need? You want the guitar playing guru? You want the jazz guru? You want the guru that plays the piano? You want a guru that can swim in the river? What kind of guru are you looking for? Islam ideology of Jannah is the same as ISKCON. Gyana Sham. Good to see you here. I'm glad to see you in the class today. Yeah, Islam. Prabhupada put a lot of Islam into his cult.
If and this is not just about one religion or another, if the God of the fanatics, if the God of certain fanatics, if God was really like that, God would be the most evil being ever conceived of by a human mind. God would be the most evil being ever conceived by a human mind, which is interesting because the famous, ontological argument for the existence of God given by Anselm in the High Middle Ages, he said, God is that being than whom no greater being can be conceived. And if you say God doesn't exist, I can imagine a greater God, one who doesn't exist. It's kind of a logical trick rather than a really convincing argument. But that was his idea. And that was Rupa Goswami's idea. Actually, Rupa Goswami has his own version of that argument.
Yeah, right. Yeah, tell me some more. Make up some more nonsense and try to tell me that, and make up some more nonsense and try to convince me that Rupa Goswami.
By the way, the idea was that because God is infinitely great, here's the argument basically: God is infinitely great. Therefore, the greatest conception of God is closest to the truth. It's like if you have an infinite number, then the highest finite number is, in a sense, going toward infinity. So the idea here is that if the greatest being imaginable is God, how could the most evil being imaginable be God? And I will give you 10 seconds here. If you can think of a more evil being, we'll give you a free cookie. But the point is, try to imagine something more evil than torturing your own children forever.
Oh, this guy. Yeah, let's talk about torturing your own children, which is exactly what you freaks did.
Just because they slightly misunderstood you.
Yeah, which is what you guys did. You guys beat the children in the Gurukul because they didn't want to chant or they didn't understand something. So you beat them, tortured them, sexually abused them, covered it up. You guys are the fanatics. You're the fanatics that you're talking about. You're the fanatics that you are talking about. And you sit there like you're not, like you're somebody else. Because you're not wearing the dhoti and you don't have the tilak on. You can't even cosplay correctly. You want to cosplay as a guru, but you don't want to actually cosplay. The cosplaying is the actual cosplaying is actually too much. You just want to cosplay without the cosplay. I'm a guru, but I'm not going to dress like one. I'm not going to act like one. I'm not going to look like one. I'm going to go to Harvard, but I'm really a guru. I'm a really smart guy. I'm a smart doctor of religion or whatever, and I can sit here and I can mumbo jumbo you all day long. But what I really want to be is a guru. It's not enough for just be smart. I want to be a guru. I want to be in control. I want to be so smart that I can sit here and I can lecture you guys, because I'm not really smart enough to lecture anybody like in a college or on a tour. Like I can't really lecture. I'm not smart enough to lecture anybody like on a lecturing tour, because nobody wants to hear me. I don't have anything to say that anybody, like if I went to wrote a book and then went on a book tour and a lecture on my book, I wouldn't get, nobody's going to come. No one is going to come see me. No one's going to come hear me. Nobody gives a fuck. No one's going to buy my book. No one's going to care. No one's going to invite me to speak at their lecture. No one's going to have me come and do anything. The only thing I can do is I can speak with another scammer sannyasi guy that, you know, we can both sit there and talk about how we're scamming people. That's about it. That's about all I can do. But I can sit here in my living room or wherever I am, and I can get a bunch of my followers to sit here and I can lecture them and I can make a video, and then it looks like I'm actually lecturing somebody. I'm actually have something to say. But nobody wants to hear. Nobody who's not my disciple wants to hear what I have to say, because I'm really not that smart. I went to Harvard and I know how to argue and I know how to, you know, and I took some classes on stuff. But I think there's a demon head eating the moon. So if you really want to defeat me in any of my arguments, all you really have to say is just ask me, do you really believe that there's a demon head eating the moon? And then I can mumble jumbo you about, well, you know, all religions around the world have their own mythology that explains the certain traits according to things. Like the Native Americans, they believed in the eagle and the this and the mountains. And, you know, well, you trying to say that the Native Americans are wrong when they say that there's a tree spirit and a mountain? No, I'm asking you, do you believe there's a demon head eating the moon? We're not talking about Native Americans. We're not talking about Aborigines. We're not talking about people in the Amazon and what they believe. I'm asking you, Howard J. Resnick, what you believe. Do you believe there's a demon head eating the moon? Do you believe that 12-year-old girls must be married to 25-year-old men? Do you believe that women's brains are small and they're less intelligent because they have small brains, like your guru says? I'm asking you that. That's what these guys, you want to talk about, is God evil, is God this, is God the greatest man? And if he's the greatest man, is he the greatest evil man? Because you can't have the greatest man without being, you know, no, you're friggin' mumbo jumbo. I want to know if you believe there's a demon head eating the moon. If we got to get past that first before we can talk about anything else. Because I'm not going to sit here and talk and debate and argue with a guy who thinks there's a demon head eating the moon. I'm just not. And you can sit there with your polo shirt and your whatever, and have all your stupid followers, just like Gora Hari's got hot lips. You sit there with all your followers, all your hot lips sitting there. Ain't no different. You ain't no different than Gora. You ain't fooling me. You ain't fooling me. Talking about the internal logic of religious fanaticism. You Hare Krishnas are the most fanatic. With your pure devotee and your sampradaya and your Varnashram and your 5,000-year-old fake Vedic culture that never existed. You went to Harvard. You going to tell me that there was a Vedic culture 5,000 years ago? You show me the evidence of that. Show me the evidence of that. You show me the evidence that there was a King Kamsa. You show me the evidence that there was a 16-year-old Sukadev Goswami came out of his mother's womb a grown 16-year-old man. And just walked out of his mother's room like, hey, here I am. I'm going to go run on. I'm going to go. Come on. You believe that, Howard J. Resnick? You believe Sukadev Goswami just came out of his mother's womb, had grown, and that Parashar Muni, whatever, was his semen fell in the river, and and the fish ate it, and then some. It was born somehow. He was born. Do you believe this stuff? I mean, seriously. You want to have a discussion about the existence of God and God is God good as God is, but you're going to tell me that this man who was the father of Vyasadeva, who was born because a fish ate some semen that fell in a lake, in a river, and all these kind of stories. You want to believe this stuff, and you're going to sit there and you're going to try and convince me that shit that really happened. Sukadev Goswami really came out at 16 years old. He stayed in his mother's womb until he was 16 years old, and then he came out running. Mr. Howard J. Resnick, Mr. Harvard Goswami. You really want me to believe that? Well, on a spiritual level, there's a spiritual plane and there's a spiritual world that we can't see. So, who is to say? Like South Park. Dum da dum 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 da dum dum dum. Dum da dum 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 da dum. There is a demon head eating the moon. Dum da dum 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 dum. And no other books read except Gita or Bhagavad kind of sucks a lot. Yeah, that's this guy. That's this friggin'. That's the mental illness of this cult. That's the mental illness of this cult. And all of these Krishna cults. Wannabe mafioso bozo. Yeah, absolutely. A spiritual mafia. I think there's spiritual mafia. If psychologists were to evaluate the Hare Krishnas, mental hospitals would be full. They would. Absolutely. It'd be full. They'd be full. They'd lock them all up. They'd lock this guy up. This guy thinks he's fucking so smart because he thinks he's so smart. He thinks he's Dr. Howard J. Resnick. Well, how smart can you be when you think there's a demon head eating the moon? How smart can you be when you think there's a demon head eating the moon? Look at this guy. He thinks there's a demon head eating the moon. And he's going to sit there and he's going to lecture you about the history of religion and this and that, and he can't even figure out the phases of the moon, the phases of the moon. That there's a shadow of the earth hitting the moon. He can't figure that out. You went to Harvard and he can't figure that out. If people figure that, the ancient Greeks figured that out. Aristophanes or whatever the friggin', Euripides, whoever it was, Pythagoras, I don't know, friggin' thousands of years ago. They figured out why the moon, they figured it out. This guy ain't figured it out yet. This guy ain't figured it out yet. We got the internet, we got Google, we got the internet. Guy went to Harvard. He still can't figure out the phases of the moon. He can't figure out an eclipse. It just boggles his mind. It freaking boggles his mind. He's like, well, it's got to be the demon head. It's got to be Rahu. When Vishnu cut off Rahu's head, the book says it went into orbit, and that on an eclipse, it eats the moon. So this genius here, he can't figure it out. So that's his answer. That's his answer. And yet he wants to sit there and lecture. All of these guys. The guy wants to lecture about sex. The guy doesn't even know the guy didn't even know how to jack off. He was going to talk about sex. This guy can't figure out the phases of the moon. He's going to talk about he's going to talk about the history of religion or something and fanaticism. He's going to talk about the logic of religious fanaticism. He can't figure out there's not a demon head eating the moon. Look at this guy. How fucking stupid you got to be? And Guru Haridas, blowing his nose has got these people thinking he's some kind of guru. It's so fucking stupid. How stupid you gotta be? How stupid can you be, good grief? How stupid can you be? You can be this stupid. This is exactly how stupid you can be. You can be stupid just like this guy. That's how stupid. That's how stupid you can be. That's how stupid one person can be. One person can be stupid enough for like a whole group of people. Can you imagine that? You got enough dumb in one person that he could fill up a whole room full of idiots with his stupid. Look at this guy. He's gonna teach his whole class of people how to be just as dumb as he is. He got a whole group of idiots right there, just mind boggled. How can Guru Dev be so smart? Wow, Guru Dev so smart. That's you out there. That's a lot of you out there watching right now. That's you. That's you right there sitting in this room. That's funny. That's funny. What does that say? That's funny. That's good. Yeah, he can't figure it out, man. He can't, demon head. Yeah, it's like the phases of the moon. So Sri Dayananda thinks the phases of the moon are you got waxing gibbous, and then you got the waning gibbous, and you got the first quarter, and then you got demon head, and then you got third quarter, and then you got full moon, and then you got demon head, and then you got first quarter again, and you got waxing gibbous, and then demon head. That's fucking insane. That's fucking insane, man. You got new moon, and then full moon. No, you got. He's looking at the demon. He's got a plate. He's ready to eat. He ordered from DoorDash. He ordered from DoorDash on some moon. Humpty he dined on the. The guy. He's the stupidest person ever. It's the only person to go to Harvard come out dumber than he went in. He's Harvard Ananda Swami. He's cosplaying without the cosplay. Yeah, he can't even cosplay correctly. He's like Gorahari. He's like Gorahari. He's like, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for all that. I offer my humble obeisances. Oh, man. The regular principle of no illicit sex except for procreation is nigh on impossible for the vast majority of people. ISKCON stance on this will leave many guilt-ridden and deeply messed up. Yeah, it does. And, and I'm going to say the majority of Hare Krishna devotees break that rule. Most of them break that rule. They break that regular principle. That's why the saying is there's 3 regular principles and you get to pick which 3. Oh, you only have to follow 3 and you get to pick which 3. Yeah, I hate that no illicit sex regulative law of ISKCON. Yeah, and that was one of the things. Look, if chanting Hare Krishna is real and it's powerful, it's the holy name, it's Krishna dancing on your tongue, the whole thing, the power of the chanting and burning off karma and all that stuff. If it was true, if it was real, and it was even a fraction of that was true, you wouldn't need to follow regular principles. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't need to follow anything. You could just chant. You could just see the Lord. You could just see his lotus feet. You could just smell the flowers. You could do all of that. You wouldn't need to follow all of these rules. These rules are just for brainwashing. It's not for anything else. There's no reason. If you read the Bhagavad Gita and you read all that, there's no regular principles in there. That's all Prabhupada putting that shit in there. That's all Prabhupada and all that bullshit. So anyway, everybody, I want to thank you all for watching. Man, this has been a long show, and it's just I believe God has given a plan for everyone can do their thing. You know, it's not for any of us. It's not for any of us to say, "Hey, Queen of Karma, thanks for joining in, man. Glad to see you were here. So much fun." Funny thing is, in Islam and Christianity, intimacy and sex without the need of procreation is allowed, and it's essential in married life, love life. How fucking stupid you gotta be to say otherwise. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. You know, it's just crazy. It's so many of these crazy things. That's the mental illness. They can get you to believe all of this stuff. They can completely turn your whole worldview around. They can you can do a complete 180 and go from being this liberal hippie that believes in, you know, everyone doing their own thing to becoming a complete religious fanatic with rules and strict things and all of this stuff. And it can happen like that. So, but hey, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thanks for making this a great show. Thanks for joining in, everyone. And if I didn't say your name and see you, I'm sorry. Jaya Ganapati, thanks for joining in today. Please like, share, and subscribe, everybody. Please, let's get this up. I'm trying to get the video out there, get in the algorithm. So I want to thank everybody for everything that you're doing, all the interaction, the comments, the chats, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, all of that. Thank you so much, and I want everyone to have a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening. Have some great luck. Please stay out of a cult. Thank you all for this great class today. Please stay out of a cult. And for all you new people that don't know what's going on, please, here is me as a Hare Krishna once upon a time, long time ago.